Hey, everybody. Welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my co host, sister, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. How are you?
Well, seconds before we started, I stubbed my toe on my desk. So, I had some fleeting agony, but I'm fine now.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad.
Thanks for
It's always
asking.
good when it's short term and not long term pain.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. One time I dropped a can out of the cupboard on my big toe,
Mm,
turned purple. It hurt so bad. I thought I was going to die.
yeah.
It hurt so bad. So
Yeah.
I'm glad yours wasn't too serious.
Right. Yeah. I mean, toe injuries are definitely, they're the worst.
Not
But
cool. Not cool at
yeah.
all.
No, I'm good. I had all my kids home for the weekend and
Nice.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
really nice. And some of their friends. So my house was just full of, young adults. And yeah, we had a super good time with them. It was nice to see everybody. And yeah,
Very
and I
cool.
went to bed way too late, both 2 nights in a row, which, I'm an
Oh,
old lady that crawls into bed early these days. It's
I hear
2
that.
AM, 1 AM stuff. Who do I think
Oh,
I
no.
am? Right.
I don't even think I'd make it. I think someone would have to like wake me up and go, okay, you got to go to bed. Because I'd just be asleep on a couch somewhere. There is no way.
I started nodding off the first night and I finally went, "You should go to bed. You're probably making these kids feel like, I don't know." Yeah. But they just it's cool for them,
Mhm. I
Just
remember
I
those
mean,
days.
it
Stay up
oh,
till
me
5 o'clock
too.
in the
Yeah.
morning, go to college all day, work all evening,
Yeah.
be
Do
fine.
homework all night. Yeah.
Now, if I did that, I would literally be dead. There's just no way.
Me too. The poor dogs were like, "Can we please go to bed?" They're not
Right.
used to it either.
No. You cross that threshold over 40, and that just does not fly anymore.
No. No, no.
We were joking earlier today about curfews, and my wife Rhonda said our curfew is 9 p.m. That's what time we have to be in bed. She's totally correct about that.
Mhm. I get
Yeah.
it. When your kids do like if you get sent to your room, you're pissed, right?
Mhm.
Now that's all I want.
Yes, please send me to my room. I will be fine.
You don't like
I
my
will be fine.
behavior? I will go to my room
I will. I will.
voluntarily.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, we are bringing you a solved case in this episode. This is a case that is actually an Idaho case
Mhm.
that the resolution of it has been playing out fairly recently, and just kind of an interesting one that we wanted to share with you. This happened originally in Clayton, Idaho, which is near Salmon. Well, it's actually nearer to Chalice, isn't it?
Yeah.
In Custer County, tiny, tiny little place. I'm sure a
Mhm.
place you've never heard of or even been. But this all started with a murder in 1980.
Mhm.
This happened on September 22nd, 1980. This was the death of Daniel Woolley. Woolley, who was a local, grew up in Clayton. He was 52 at the time that he was killed. He was shot in the head with a 22 caliber pistol following a brawl outside a bar that's now closed. It was called the Sports Club Bar,
Mhm.
and the killing was witnessed. The bar owner, who was known only as Maggie in the news, um, was present, saw it happen, knew exactly who had done it, and the man who had done it is Mason. Sorry, why can't I find his last name? Because I can't remember it. Walter James Mason.
There you go.
Walter James Mason, who was living there in Clayton as well. Now,
Right.
this is the crazy part about it, okay? Once this happened, Mason just disappeared from the community. He just took off and left,
Mhm.
and no one could find him. The police looked for him, the FBI looked for him. He was searched for a long time. There was a wanted poster out for him that he was armed and dangerous. It talked about how he had scars on his chest and his arms, and also that he had lost the control of the muscles in the left side of his face. And when you see
Yeah.
pictures of him, you'll see that his face really droops. So, I thought this was really interesting. The Custer County Sheriff and the Idaho Department of Fish and Game and the FBI searched for him. You might find that funny that Fish and Game would be searching for someone. But, the
Mm.
fish cops, as they're known around here,
Mhm.
actually help quite a lot in very rural communities
Uh-huh.
to help
Well,
to
and
look
they
for
know
someone.
those backwoods. I mean, this is where we
Yeah.
went, if you guys were with us, where we went on our cemetery tour. And if you did, you know how rural that is and how much, backcountry there is there that, somebody could really slip away in. So can we talk for just a minute about the brawl, about what happened at the bar?
Yeah, let's do. Let's do.
So
So
he
go
was
ahead.
roughing up his wife in the
Yeah.
bar. He was
Yeah.
drunk and belligerent, and he was getting really physical, violent with his wife.
Yeah.
And his best friend, the Woolley guy, and
Yeah.
some other the bar owner and some other patrons wrestled him outside. And
Yeah.
basically, they said his friend was like one of the only people that could really get through to him. I'm guessing this guy kind of had some long-term behavior issues, but
Yeah.
they had
Kind of
said
well
that.
known for being an
Mhm.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, they said that, he was Daniel Woolley was one of the only people he would even listen to. So
Right.
Woolley helped, march him out of the bar and told him he needed to stay out here and cool down and knock it off. And he went across the street to his truck. So his truck, I'm thinking, was parked at the other bar. There was a bar across the street.
Yeah.
So
So they were kind of going back and
mhm,
forth between
he
the two.
went across the street to his truck and got two guns, came back over to this bar, to the sports club, and that's where he shot Daniel Woolley in the head. He went in the bar then and shot 6 times,
Yeah.
and somebody was also struck in the shoulder.
Yeah. One of the guys that had marched him out, the two
Mhm.
Sweeneys, the
Yeah.
dad and son Sweeney,
Mhm.
one of them was shot.
Yep. Then he went back across the street to the other bar where his truck was parked, went inside, this was the Silver Bar, and
Yeah.
asked the bartender, he said, I want to drink my last drink, for I have just killed a man. 'Cause that's how the story goes. And that he
Yeah.
drained a shot, went and climbed in his truck, and off he went, and no one saw him again.
Yeah.
And so it's not just that he just abandoned his life, he abandoned his wife, his property, everything
Everything. He
just
just disappeared.
disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah. So weird. So weird. And I guess, you got to remember this is 1980 and this is rural Idaho.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they've used all their resources they could to try to find him. They at one point thought that he was in Montana, and another time they thought that he was in Nevada. But this incident had such a huge impact on Clayton, too. This is a tiny
Mhm.
little place, okay?
Yeah.
And Mason's wife, Candace, who was, one of the victims in this situation, was the only teacher at the Custer school at that time. And because this whole incident had a lot of publicity and it was really upsetting to her, she moved to a little town nearby called Chalice. And because of that, they had to close the school and bus the kids to school in Chalice because they didn't have a teacher anymore.
Wow.
And this wasn't in 1880. This was in 1980. I know you may be
Might think
asking
so.
yourself, what the hell, but this is rural Idaho, okay? There
Mhm.
are still a few places that are like a single room, single teacher schoolhouse.
Yep.
Now, it's not all like that, but there are some places that are a little bit like that. I
Yeah.
just found that part of the story crazy and
Yeah.
so such a great description of what it's like to live in Idaho.
Yeah, especially areas like that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So basically, he just disappeared off the planet. They never found him. They couldn't found nothing about him. And so this case just went cold. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not that they weren't trying, they just had nothing
Yep.
until October of 2019. There was his stepdaughter. So he married Walter Mason became Walter James Allison. And turns out he was living in Eastland County in Texas.
Mhm.
And his wife, because obviously he wasn't legally married, couldn't have been, or all of this was a lie, had died not long before that. And one of his stepdaughters, who had always been a little suspicious of him and wasn't really a super big fan, learned that he was actually wanted for murder and turned him in.
Mhm.
And he was arrested in Texas, and then he was extradited to Idaho.
Mhm.
And it just was shocking. I remember when it came out in the news,
Mhm.
it was really shocking that,
Yeah.
after all this time, they would find him. He
Mhm.
is an elderly man now. He's
Yeah.
86. He's in terrible condition. He has been being held in a state hospital in Blackfoot, Idaho, which is not far from
Mhm.
where we live, because he is not mentally fit to proceed to trial. He's in such bad shape that they were a little worried about transporting him from Texas to Idaho, if he would even
Yeah.
make the trip.
Yeah, the staff at the Texas jail who'd been holding him until he was extradited were very concerned, because of how frail he was at their jail,
Yeah,
and really warned the people transporting be extremely careful with him. Apparently, he'd had some trouble there,
yeah,
and yeah, the last thing they need is for a suspect to die in their custody, but
right.
uh, it sounds like there had been some in the past. There had been some violence between him and this daughter.
Yeah, yeah, that he had been a bad guy. They never liked him, they never trusted him,
Mhm.
and, um, she wasn't too surprised to find that he was, you know,
Yeah.
basically hiding out.
Right. Well, she found something with his other last name on it
Yeah,
in the house and put it in an internet search because she's just always wondered who the hell this guy is that just showed up out of nowhere and has
right.
been so suspicious and weird. So she found some documentation in the house in cleaning out her mother's stuff that had a different last name on it.
Yeah,
So she went to the Google with it and discovered, holy shit, this guy's wanted for murder. And I think she couldn't make that phone call fast enough.
I think so at that point, yeah, that, it was sort of just confirming everything that she had thought.
Well, you think for the stepdaughters, I mean, or, quote unquote stepdaughters, they had this old man dumped on them, who didn't have any
Right.
family, didn't have anybody but them, and they hated him. And their mother's dead, and they don't want to have to take care of this guy. What do they do with him?
Yeah,
And he's in some stage of Alzheimer's, and I mean, what do they do
right. They're
anyway?
stuck with him.
Right, and then to discover what a discovery to make.
Oh my
I can
gosh,
only
I cannot
imagine.
imagine.
Yeah.
Right. So
I
he was
suspect
living
they weren't
in
that surprised,
I
you
bet
know?
they weren't. He was living in Rising Star, which is a tiny little town in Texas,
Mhm.
and there've been some interviews done with some of the neighbors that lived around them, and they said that this guy hardly ever left the house.
Yeah.
He did not work. Beverly Meekum was the woman that he was living with, and she worked for the school district, and it appeared that she was the one supporting him, that he didn't work, he didn't leave the house. How could he? You know?
Right.
How could he? He couldn't use his real name.
Couldn't
Um,
use a Social Security number, it would ping somewhere. Yeah.
I'll just tell you this story because it's funny as hell. Um, so the neighbor said he'd only had a couple of interactions with him, said he was a recluse and seemed pretty self-centered. But one time he helped him. This is such an Idaho thing to say. It happened in Texas, but it could have happened here. And the neighbor, they had a broken fence and they had some cows get out. And so the neighbor came and helped him. And another time, Mason had driven a vehicle into the ditch, and the same neighbor came and helped him get out. And after helping with these things, the neighbor recalls that he didn't say thank you or kiss my foot or nothing. Our grandpa used to say kiss my foot. So I just thought that was pretty funny. So he was just living in a place where, I mean, people knew he was kind of weird,
Mhm.
but there wasn't anything they could do. It was also a place that he was very well hidden.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and, since he's been extradited here to Idaho, they have twice now, the prosecution has asked for a mental evaluation to
Yeah.
see, just to double check, is he playing us? Is this a condition that could get better? And the determination is that no, it isn't.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
unclear right now if he'll just, be held until the time of his death. That's what seems most likely. It's very disappointing for Daniel Woolley's family because you know, they wanted a conviction. Of course they did, you know. But
Absolutely.
at least they, at least went this far. It is disappointing that it can't go farther, but at least they
It
did
is.
get a hold of him finally. And
They did. Yeah. Yeah, but he's not even fit to stand trial at this point.
no,
Yeah, it's
no.
wild. They would like to charge him with first-degree murder, but they
Mhm.
can't. They may just end up holding him in the state hospital for the rest of his life,
I'll bet they
which
do.
which may not be much longer, frankly. He's just in really poor shape, but
Mhm,
just a crazy story that he could go that long,
mhm,
40 years without being identified, that he got away with it for that long.
mhm.
It's wild.
Interesting that his wife that he left in Clayton was a teacher, and then he ends up in Texas with another woman
With
who
an
works for the
another
school
teacher.
district. Yeah, another teacher. I mean, he's got a type, but
He
it also
definitely
makes you
does.
wonder, what the hell did he tell her? Because
Yeah.
that it wasn't the truth.
No.
Know? He
No, but
had
what did he tell
some
her that he
tale
couldn't
going.
he had to have that he couldn't
Mhm,
work, that he had to make sure nobody knew who he really was, I mean, did she
mhm.
really just believe the story that he was this Allison guy? Or, did she have some idea that he was running from the police? I don't know.
Or was there some lame brain bullshit like he was in the witness protection program or,
Right.
something
I
like
mean,
that? I really wondered.
something to get her to, buy into this and also to support him, you know?
Yeah.
He didn't leave their property, he didn't work, he didn't do anything for himself.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting, but at least some resolution for the Woolley family that, they have caught him, they do have him,
Mhm.
but to go 40 years, as a fugitive is pretty crazy.
It is. So we'll keep an eye on this case. If there
Mhm.
is any movement forward, we'll definitely report back on it. But at this
Yeah.
point, it's just stagnated to a place where it looks like the state will probably just hold him until his passing. But if
Yeah,
anything
I
shifts,
feel
of
like
course, we'll be back on it.
yeah. Yeah, we definitely will, but it was an interesting story we wanted to tell you, and, if you have any suspicious people in your life, keep an eye out,
Right. To
you
the
know?
Google. Yeah.
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, that's so crazy to think that somebody like that could infiltrate into your family, and
Mhm.
you don't know for such a long time who they really are.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah. Well, that is our story, and we will be back, with the story of Walter Mason, and we'll be back with, any updates that we get on this case, but we just wanted to tell you because it was kind of an interesting one, so you've
Yeah.
been listening to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Thanks for being here with us, you guys. Have a great day.
Take care.